Welcome back everybody, my name is Eltimar and we are going to be continuing our Let's Play of Sunless Sea. Where we left off last time, we're actually on Quaker's Haven, but there was some weird video lag, probably due to me trying to run this game at 1080p on my new monitor, which its native resolution is 1440p, so I think G-Sync might have been causing some problems. I'm hoping it's solved now. We're going to test it out and see what happens, but first we're going to collect messages from the Harbor Master. Something has changed in the Neath, somebody wants to sign on, the Blind Bruiser attends to business on the dock, and that's it for now. We have another day, free evening. Alright, well, let's see what we have. We can't do anything with him yet. We could go read the morning papers, and we will do that. We get one recent news, we get another supply, and we lost one terror. Now we're at 47. It's the same speech as the last time we did that too, so we're not going to reread that obviously. And most of these port reports are going to be copies of ones we've read before, so we'll go through them really quickly and just get rid of them. Port Cecil's not one we read before though. The Principles of Coral. I had no idea why anyone thought that settlement was a good idea. We got 30 echoes, 1 favor, and we got our Port Cecil port report confirmed, and we got a fuel. Station 3. Excuse me, just let me call a colleague in. This is my colleague, Mr. Villain, of the Ministry of Public Decency. Mr. Villain, this good captain's report is here. If you would care to, yes, the fire is already lit. Let us, there we go. Now only ashes remain, and it might have caused such a trouble. Thank you, Captain. We appreciate your discretion. Here is your payment. You need not trouble yourself further in this affair. We gained 100 echoes from that. That is quite good. That's a lot of money. We got a favor, fuel, and we got a new accomplishment. Surveyed Station 3. The Chapel of Lights. There's something about the Untersee that breeds heresy and dissent. I rather think we might need to send the Bishop of Southwark out for a good bit of Christian shouting. 20 echoes, 1 favor, surveyed the Chapel of Lights, and gained a fuel. Frost found. Is it as beautiful as they say? I doubt it. Poets are notorious liars, but liars make bad poets. A paradox, isn't it? Never mind your report. We got 30 echoes, 1 fuel, another Admiralty favor, and we've surveyed Frost found. The Salt Lions. The Bazaar has always taken an interest in that place, and we got the normal sort of rewards, 20 echoes, 1 fuel, and so on. Quaker's Haven, we've already read this one before, so it doesn't really matter. And that's really it. We still haven't found the funging station to turn in that surveillance report or survey report, and we are still carting around contraband in the form of unstamped crate of brilliant souls. Not the best thing to be carting around, but we are loaded up with fuel again. That's the word I was looking for. So where are we gonna go? I guess we could head sort of this way. There's always a chance that the thing we're looking for is to the south. It's not super common, but you know what? This game changes so often that it's hard to say what's common and what is not. Oh good, the graphical lag appears to be gone. So yeah, must have been just trying to run this game at 1080p with G-Sync on. It was causing some serious problems actually, like in combat. I fought a crab on the way up here, and my game, like, it didn't lock up really, but it was really jittery and not very good at all. So it looks like everything's going perfectly fine with the recording now. If I switch to combat, no weird lag. We'll try and find a crab down here to shoot, just to be sure that it wasn't combat itself or something wrong with my new computer. I don't think there is, because I was playing Overwatch at 140 or 1440p, 144 Hz earlier, running about 210 FPS, but that doesn't really matter. Above 144, so I'm not noticing any tearing, which is nice. G-Sync should prevent any sort of graphical tearing, or at least negate it a good amount. No dead pixels, so everything's going really well. Where are we at? We should be running into something kind of neat around here. It should be down somewhere over here. It doesn't change. There it is. The Cumaean Canal. It's right here. Perfect. This is the only way back to the surface that I know of. There could be others. I haven't played through the whole game. I've only played a few hours, but I have been down here. And this is at least one of the only ways up to the surface. So it is a canal that is much like the Panama or Suez Canal, those kind of things, where heavily secured, traffic is maintained very carefully, and it is invaluable because, obviously, it's the only way between the surface and the Untersee, So here we are. Here, the dark waters run down from the surface, from a brighter sea. The canal ascends, through locks and gates and shadowed turns, to the sunlight of the surface. We could try and travel to the surface later. We need 22 fuel, we need 2 supplies, and we need menaces, yearning, burning, no more than 199. I don't exactly know what that is. But we don't have enough supplies. Well, we have enough supplies, we don't have enough fuel. But we can listen for surface gossip. The ships of the surface linger here. This is their lifeline to a warmer place. A sorry end. A card game ends badly when one surfacer sailor knifes another for all the usual reasons. The other players scrabble from the coins that spill out of her pockets. But you snatch up some scraps of paper they overlook. Curious markings, dates, times, code names. Spies work? We now have 1 moves in the great game. The nations of Europe and beyond compete for influence. Their plots reach even to the Neath. We'll gather a port report. Many ships pass this way, but perhaps you'll pick up something they missed. Business as usual. The gates open and shut, the locks remain free from sabotage. If anywhere besides London is safe in all the Untersee, it's here. The surface nations have an interest in keeping the way open, which is what I just mentioned earlier. Very secure, safe area. Let's kill our... Oops, I did not mean to do that. We must go. I want to try and fight that jellyfish I saw earlier. I think they're called jellyfishes. And we're gonna head east. See if we can find something along the bottom-ish. Well, not really bottom-ish, sort of mid-range. We're not even close to the bottom. We have much to explore and many more stories to unlock in the Untersee. There's the jellyfish. Battleship. Or battleship. Yes, battleship time. But more importantly, battle stations. Oh good, the lag is definitely gone. Jellyfish, jellyfleur, go away. No, I don't consent. Oh, it's not gonna charge us. Well, that's its loss then. We will let it disperse so we get another port report for Visage. And another Z story, I should say, which is important. Z stories are really, really good for us. They help us out quite a bit, and the supplies it gives us are sort of negligible. That's another ship. But it is a tramp steamer, it is not a threat to us, so we're gonna all clear that. And let's see if we can find an island. No islands within range, of course. What do you call that then? That looks like an island to me, although there's nothing on it. So, I guess technically it's a nothing. We should be encountering the mushroom place soon. Fungal place, whatever it is. Where also is this damn funging station? This thing is impossible to find. It says it's not close. Oh, Pigmote Island. This is a neat little quest. It's just over here to the east. It's a pretty decently sized island, you can see from there. There are going to be quite a few challenges on this island, some of which we are not really prepared for, but we'll see if we can get some stuff done. And there's the island. If you shine your light on it, generally it lights up the whole thing. It counts as like being surveyed or something like that. There is a destroyed, looks like pirate cruiser there. You can tell by the 3 guns. Although we can buy that same ship, so maybe that's not a good indicator of pirateness. And there's another cruiser, but we're not too concerned. 2 houses, both alike in dignity, on a lonely desert beach. There is no habitation in sight, no market, only an old rotting dock. A stretch of sand thickens into damp black earth from which sprout stunted palms? Not quite. Tall fungal growths with frond-like caps, as if somebody had sculpted the idea of a tree from a mushroom. Let's see what waits us. War. As you step onto the quay, you hear clamor, shouts, and shooting. You can see off in the distance smoke rising from beyond the hill, and dots of fire flecking the horizon. 2 tiny figures stand a little further down the quay, unmoving, as if awaiting your approach. The following is an extract from the popular Diary of a Z Captain from London to Irem and what we did there before we arrived. Washed ashore on Mutton Island and subsequently serialized in the Unexpurgated Gazette. The author's identity remains unknown. The tale of Pigmote Island, in which a delegation is made, a choice is presented, war is declared, a most singular treasure is sought by all, and a new empire is founded with tooth and claw. The figures were rodents. To my left was a Rattus Faber, wearing goggles, a blacksmith's apron, and an assortment of tools. To my right, an unusually large guinea pig wearing a helmet and breastplate reminiscent of nothing so much as the High Middle Ages. The rat stepped forward first and bowed. "Welcome, Captain, to Rat Star Island. I'm Edgar, second chief engineer of the 3rd Rat Brigade. I invite you to avail yourself of food and fuel at our expense. The only cost to you is a choice." The rat stepped back. At precisely the same moment, with what appeared to be the ease of long habit, the guinea pigs scuttled forward and made a declamatory chirp. "Welcome, Captain, to the Isle of Cavia. I am Lady Augusta Devereux Swinch of the Blackwater Swinches, Seneschal to our King Gracenow, first of his name. I invite you to avail yourself of food and fuel at our expense. The only cost to you is a choice." The two stand at attention, looking at me expectantly. The two remarkable rodents squatted, both seeking my support. I knew I had to choose carefully. I'm going to speak to the Seneschal. How did an armored guinea pig manage to look Nope, we're gonna go with, I spoke to the chief engineer. His eyes had a wave-cold glint to them, and he wore his scars like jewels. A rat in the making. I asked the chief engineer to elaborate. He looked at me for a long, measured moment before speaking gruffly. "We came to this island to make a home for ourselves away from London, its cats and snuffers, its rat-skin suits. We came to live as citizens of our own republic. We came with our tools, our teeth, our clever hands, and we made a beautiful city by the light of the Rat Star that shone bright and blue on Mount Ararat." The chief engineer nods towards the distant hill. "One day we braved the depths of the chicken woods, and from the top of Mount Ararat we plucked the Rat Star to be our light, our beacon. But the pigs of Cavie saw the light, and they lusted for it. They sent armies to rule us all and steal our star. We will not permit them to take what is ours. We will resist to our last breath. Will you join us in defeating them?" I spoke to the Seneschal. How did an armored guinea pig manage to look so regal? The Seneschal clears her throat with a delicacy to rival the Duchess's own before speaking. "Gracenow, our king and our lord and sovereign, full 7 months had sojourned on the sea, conquered this island, and won the southern main. Now no fortress against him shall remain, no city walls left for him to gain, save the rats that squeak behind the mountain. Unlikely was the lamb of our deliverance, assured shall be our glories and their fall, when our lady's eye restored be to our hall." The Seneschal composed herself and then added, "We saw truth and beauty by the light of our lady's eye on Mount Caveat, but the rats with their guns and their chatter and their peasants' politics stole it from us. We will subjugate them and take it back. They are a rabble, and we will rule them with the steel-shod velvet of our paws. Will you join us?" I've heard more than enough. I was ready to make my choice. As you can well imagine, I faced quite a dilemma. The red eyes stared up at me, waiting for my choice. I sided with the chief engineer. He seemed grumpy, but honest. Also, I knew too well what rat-made weapons can do. I extended a finger to the chief engineer, who shook it grimly. The Seneschal hissed and chattered her teeth in disgust, but kept her distance. "You made the right choice," said the chief engineer. "Now let me show you around." So we chose to help the rats. Chapter 3. It's another longer one. The chief engineer led me into the northern side of the island, skirting the chicken woods. We passed through a number of what can only be termed checkpoints, as fierce-eyed rats shouldered their derringers and saluted the chief engineer. Soon we came upon a small colony, smaller than some of the infestations I had encountered in London flats. Perhaps only 50 Rattus Faber altogether, working diligently to fortify their side of the island. The first thing I noticed was a brilliant light beaming out from a stump of chicken wood about 6 feet high. It bathed the whole settlement in a clean blue glow, and was almost too bright to look at. By its light I could see several raised mounds of earth, suggesting shallow tunnels. An efficient fishing operation was set up by the water, an albino rat mending nets, while others stabbed and sharpened sticks into the waves. Further inland was a barracks, where a sergeant barked drills at a small squadron of fighters. My arrival drew attention, and several rats paused in their work to look at me curiously. "Welcome to Marinia," says the chief engineer, voice warm with pride. "It's not much to look at now, but it will be once we've rousted the cavies? I don't know. Take a stroll around while I summon the War Council." With that, he vanished into one of the mountains and left me to explore. I took a closer look at the rat star. An excitable-looking rat was peering at it through smoky goggles, twitching her whiskers and making notes on what appeared to be real paper. Blue as a sapphire, but endlessly more brilliant. It's not a star, of course, not really, but try explaining that to the others. The chief engineer doesn't want me working too hard to convince them. Says this is better for morale, but just look at it. Look! She offered me her goggles. I managed to work them over just enough of one of my eyes to see the truth of what she was studying. It was a scintillac, but unlike any I'd seen before. Blue as a sapphire, but more brilliant. Something about the clarity of its color was tremendously soothing. The chief science officer tittered with pleasure as I handed her goggles back. Those of us who have been to the cavey side of the island and lived to tell of it say there's plenty of glow there, plenty of bright in the water all around, but nothing like this. We took this from the island's center, Mount Ararat, actually. Only it's not a mountain, of course, any more than this is a star. It's hollow. There's sweet water inside and coral crawling all up the walls of it, but nothing that glows save this. It's ours now, and no one can take it from us. The chief engineer led me to the northern... Oh, wait, I already did that. We already read all of that. I visited the rats' barracks. We were fighting impressive odds. Actually, first we'll go up here. The drill sergeant appeared to be sizing me up. Were the few rats around here really all she had to launch an attack? I approached the drill sergeant and went so far as to salute her, which earned me a grunt of satisfaction. The sergeant dismissed her troops and offered me a bit of chickenwood jerky to gnaw on. There's more of us below ground, she explained, but not enough. The cavies are bigger and there's more of them. Maybe it's cavies. We're better with weapons, but haven't got the stuff to make them. Most of us came here as stowaways, and we brought nothing but food, tools, and the fur on our backs. We can fish, we can nibble the chickenwoods, but we can't make guns out of trees. The cavies come with their own steamer, and seem to have endless supplies. We raid them sometimes, but there's so few of us, and we can never hold on to territory gained for long. But that's of no consequence. All we want is to be left in peace to build our republic, and the rat star, she added thoughtfully after a moment. Of course, we want that too. Who ever heard of a rat mending a net, where the green billows played? An albino rat smiled up at me from his mending work, looking dainty and a little shy. Chickenwood floats, especially when it's dried out and sealed, so we're able to paddle out a bit and cast our nets. We come up with all sorts of things, blind fish, crabs, sometimes chunks of broken tentacle. But the fishing would never be so good without the rat star, he beamed. I think it only draws good fish and keeps the scary ones at bay. I know the chief science officer doesn't believe it, but I do. That light is our livelihood. I'd finished my exploration. The bells of the War Council rang. I was summoned. The chief engineer emerged from the underground with a motley assortment of other rats. He introduced them as weapons experts, strategists, and field commanders. So you're going to help us beat the cavies, he said, a hard edge to his voice, but how exactly? I determined to take the lead. I had a ship, I had cannons. We would steer her up to the southern side of the island and have at those uppity animals. We did the iron challenge. A palpable hit. The rats gave me what information they possessed about the Cavi settlement, but I still had to improvise a great deal on the spot. A perfect storm of speed, stealth, and strength in arms favored us, our cannons letting fly a volley of a shot onto the beach before the Cavies could scramble onto their grounded ship to man its guns. Screams and squeals filled the air. The enemy fled. A damp hush settled over my crew as the smoke cleared to reveal the torn, bloodied bodies of guinea pigs littering the shore. A grim business, but I'd honored my commitment to the rats and found a wealth of scintillac ringing the beach to harvest as spoils. Oh damn, we killed a bunch of rats, but we got some scintillac. That stuff is very important and worth a fortune. Hey, we got Hail Marinia, which is the rat island. An occurrence, your Pigmote Island might quality is now 5, adequate. Your Pigmote Isle civilization quality is now 4, troubled. An occurrence, your Pigmote Isle spirit is now conflicted. And we have a bale of parabola linen as well. The House of Cavi had fallen. Marinia was triumphant. All that remained were celebrations and the continuation of our voyage. Oh, how we feasted long into the night. Then I invited one of the Rattis Faber to join us. After all, what's a rat without a few ships? Or, what's a ship without a few rats? We have an albino tinkerer, who's an engineer. But we lost one civilization, so the civilization is struggling here. We will be working on helping that out. I'm also going to intercede on behalf of the Cavies. They were crushed, defeated. I could see their spirits broken without the light of the rat star to guide them. They needed an advocate. I couldn't forge peace, though. I appealed to the chief engineer's moral fortitude and sense of fair play. Perhaps the cavies suffered the loss of the light from the center of their island. Perhaps they were only trying to get it back, and not steal it from the rats. The chief engineer looked troubled, but shook his head. You fought one battle, Captain, he said gravely. We fought hundreds against them. They're monsters, pure and simple, and the sooner we're rid of them, the better. Rid of them? I saw by the light of scintillac a dozen rats using the steam pinnaces supplies to build something that looked remarkably like a sausage machine. Grim. Well, we are done on Pigmote Island. A new nation has been founded. And oops, I bumped my microphone. That's my bad. We can try and steal the rat star, but we're not going to do that. That's silly. What is this? Okay, we have all of that, except... Oh, we have to try and help Marinia resolve a dilemma later on, though. So, we have to leave first, and we shall. So, we've forged a new place. It's called Saints Haven. Oh, we're also out of time on our video. I got so into that particular story that I didn't realize we're out of time. I guess that's where we'll end then. Like always, if you have any suggestions or comments, please leave them below. Otherwise, I'll see you all next time. Take care.